Hey Stampers! Today's tutorial comes from my Stampin' Getaway magazine, and you can purchase our Getaway magazine on my website at bradyscards.com, and inside you'll find 12 inspiring tutorials, but today's tutorial is also going to be a video tutorial on my beautiful blossom. I was really excited about this card. I'm going to set this here so I can kind of see it as well. Now this card is really neat. It's a lot of fun, and you know, I had gotten a card in the mail from a lady who embroidered a card, and it was absolutely stunning. And I kept looking at it and thinking, now how can I recreate this card? It was a lot of work, and I was so grateful to get it, but there was no way that I was going to be able to embroider like she did. It was incredible. So this was my answer to embroidering on a card, and so I hope that you'll enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Minimal products that you need, really. I just have some Melon Mamba, and I've got some Whisper White, a 4 1/4 by 1 inch piece of green cardstock. Pretty easy. Of course, I did use my Blossom Punch, and I also used my Flower Builder Punch, so that's pretty much it. Oh, and some thread. You are going to need some thread. And now I just went to a local fabric store and I bought myself some thread. I will put on my website the colors that I used. I thought that they matched the Stampin' Up cardstock the best. But of course you can choose any colors that you'd like. And also in my Stampin' Getaway I do list the numbers of the embroidery thread. Now when I do classes, for those of you that do classes as well, I usually take my thread and I'll wrap it around on, this is actually ran through on one of the Big Shot dies. And I just kind of wrapped the thread around, and I gave each lady a piece. And it was really nice because then she could kind of unwrap the thread. So it worked perfectly. All right, so let's get started. This card is fun. I really like it. It's pretty easy to do. So we're going to go ahead. I've already folded my Whisper White piece of cardstock. I'm going to take a Melon Mamba, and I'll have all of the dimensions on my website, brandyscards.com, and make sure you look in the link of this video post and you'll find it, okay? And of course, shoot me an email. I love questions and I love comments. So I'm grateful for all of you that leave me fun comments, so thank you for that. Also, here is a Whisper White piece. Now what I did is I took my hole punch, and you'll see here that I kind of punched at the top and the bottom. Now did I punch it anywhere specific? Not really. I just knew that I wanted my stem to be somewhere off to the side so that I could add my greeting, as you can see here. So this card, I guess, is like that. So what I'm going to do is I've got some green thread here, and you are going to need some Stampin' Dimensionals, okay? So again, we are just embroidering on the cardstock, and it's nothing crazy or hard. What you're going to do is you're going to take a Stampin' Dimensional, and I just kind of put it here, I don't know, about 2 inches up from the bottom. And we're going to go ahead and take off the little backing on the Stampin' Dimensional, and now you have, it's about 2 inches up. Now the thing is when I punched it, I punched at the bottom, for the bottom of my stem, and then I also came in and I punched at the top. And I punched it down, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and maybe 1 1/4 inches into the card. So this is where my flower is going to go, and this is the bottom of my stem, and my grass will cover that up. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to come from the bottom of our card, and we're going to pull the thread through. And I wouldn't worry about, you know, like tying it off or anything like that. Use your Stampin' Dimensional and stick the end of your thread right on that Stampin' Dimensional and let that work for you. And then you're going to go in through the top. And you know, I wanted it to look fairly thick, so I actually did it 3 times, but you certainly do not have to do it 3 times. You can do it once or twice, however you like it, of course. And but I'm going to go ahead, since I have enough thread here, I'm going to do it one more time. And I just looped it through, and we'll go all the way through, and that's good because now my thread is almost gone. There we go. Now we're going to pull that backing through, and again, use a Stampin' Dimensional, and you could actually just put your string down and now place the Stampin' Dimensional on the top of it. This way, now that Stampin' Dimensional functions as holding it up. We're going to put a dimensional in each corner of your card, and you have a stem. All right, come on guys, let's come off of here. Sometimes I have trouble pulling those things off there, and then other times I don't. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna go ahead and layer that right here in our Melon Mamba, and we now are doing good. there we go. So now we have our stem of our card. Now what I have done is I have punched 2 Whisper White blossoms, and I've also punched a third one in Melon Mamba. All right, and so these are kind of just a layer. Really the one that you want to focus on is one white, Whisper White. So what I did is I took my hole punch, and you know, somebody said to me, well, do you really need to punch the holes? You know, it just looks kind of sloppy when you stick the needle through there, and it just doesn't look right. It kind of looks like torn paper, and it doesn't pull your thread through very well. So I'm going to say yes, it does make a big difference. So, you know, is there any special way to do it? No, I just went in on each little petal and I just punched a hole all the way around until I finished punching. So to save time, I've already done that for you guys. And again, I do explain all of that in my tutorial as well. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did with our stem. We're going to come in through one side. It doesn't really matter, but I am going to say let's start at this one of the ends of the petal. Don't start in the middle of the petal, but more so one of the ends. Okay? Now there's a couple different ways that you can do this, and we learned this at my Stampin' Getaway. You can save a little bit of thread, and there's a way to do that. Or if it doesn't really matter, well then, you know, you can do it this way as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the way to save a little bit of thread. We're going to go up from this bottom corner all the way. You'll notice this is 6 petals. So you're going to go to the petal that's directly opposite from the one we just came up. And you're going to go diagonal to the hole that's diagonal to the one that you just came up through. You see that there? Now we're going to flip it over and we're going to come up through the bottom. We're going to come up through the bottom. Oops, that one's not right. We got to go back out here. See, look at that. Look at that. There we go. All right, so now we're going to go back in here through the bottom, and you're going to come out through the top. Now I'm going to flip this back over to show you. And now you're going to cross, because you want this to crisscross the whole way through. That is what you need to know, is this is supposed to crisscross all the way through. Because my idea is I wanted the color to pop. And we're just going to kind of keep working our way. And all we're focusing now are the petals that are directly across from each other. We're going to come back in this way, just like that. And we're going to crisscross all the way across and keep working it through. And I think you'll find this is a lot of fun. So now where do we go from here? Well, what I did again is I went all the way up to a new petal. So you see that there? We're going to go all the way up to a new petal. And it doesn't really, it doesn't really matter. What you need to focus on though is you don't want to see your embroidery thread. That's really what you don't want to see. And then we're going to come diagonal to the other petal directly across from it. And we're just going to kind of keep working it just like this, back and forth. And with spring on the way, this card is definitely going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to send this as a thank you note for my Stamp Club members. All right, so here we go. Let's keep on going. Uh-oh, we got a knot in here. Abort, abort. All right, so what we're going to do is I am going to go ahead and just snip it where I got my knot. And again, it's really not that big a deal because what we're going to do is we're going to put a Stampin' Dimensional down. And we're going to hold the string down that's already there. Perfect. See, there's always a way to fix things. Nobody knows that you've got 10 Stampin' Dimensionals back there except me. No, just kidding. It's okay. Really, it's okay. So now we're going to come back in and we're going to use that same Stampin' Dimensional that we put on there to hold that thread back down. All right, there we go. We're back in business. And then we're going to come back through over here. And let's just kind of keep working this through. And I promise you, once we get through this part of it, then the rest is super easy. All right, back on that diagonal. And you know, you could probably try this with the scallop punch even. You know, Stampin' Up! Has so many great punches that, you know, there's lots of opportunity to try different things. But I have just loved this blossom punch. I just think it is just so clever and it's so pretty and there's so many things that you can do with it. All right, is my thread gonna make it? I hope that it is. We're close. There we go. All right, last one. We're gonna come all the way across, just like that, back through the bottom. And again, we're gonna use our Stampin' Dimensional to hold it down. We're gonna just cut that off. And there we go, that's perfect. Okay, so now we have our threaded flower. So now what I did is I just basically layered my flower up, and so I'll just kind of show you here on my card. I went and I put the Whisper White one down, and then I alternated with the Melon Mamba, and then I also added my threaded one. Now you don't want to pop everything up because I'm afraid that it'll make it too thick. So what I would recommend is that you definitely, because you have thread on your stem, you're definitely going to need a couple Stampin' Dimensionals on either side of your stem. And that's, again, only because the stem is raised, and it'll kind of throw your flower off. It won't lay flat. So we're going to go ahead and just stick that down. And then I would go ahead and glue your Melon Mamba one, and of course alternate it on top of there. And then I would take, and you could do, you know, because you've already got two Stampin' Dimensionals on here, I would probably stick with that. And then I'll show you how we're going to do our top flower, and we'll use mini glue dots for that, so it's not too tall. All right, then we're going to stick that on there just like that. Perfect. Love it. Okay, cool. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull in our yellow thread. Now for the yellow thread, all you need is one of our punched little baby scallops. This thing is so cute. I think it's maybe the 1.25 inch scallop punch, and it's adorable. Again, I am going to use a mini glue dot, and that is because I don't want it too tall. So I'm going to put a mini glue dot in the back, and it's going to act the same way that the Stampin' Dimensional did. It's going to hold it down. And it doesn't matter where you start on your scallop, but I am going to wrap it and alternate around my scallop just like that. Keep kind of going around and around, and we're going to move the scallop and around. And then you'll see once you get to the very last one, you're going to flip it over, and I would again grab a mini glue dot and stick that on your flower, and then you're going to put your thread right on top of that. And you might even be able to stick that thread on top of the other mini glue dot that was in there, but mine was kind of buried. So I just added another one. I don't want it to come apart, of course. So there you go. Now you have a yellow scallop. It's beautiful. I love it. And you now make sure that when you start, your thread ends on that same back side, because of course you don't want one to start on the front and then end on the back sort of thing. That might look a little funky, but we're going to put some mini glue dots, and then I'm going to just add that right to the center of my flower. Perfect. Next thing I'm going to do is I have just got a little yellow button, a little flower button. I believe these are on the clearance rack right now. They are my favorite. I just love them a lot. And I took a jewel rhinestone, Stampin' Up! Jewel rhinestone. I'm going to dig underneath it and get that dot out of there, the sticky dot. Place that right in the center of the button, and now I have kind of a gem. Got my bling. The very last thing, well, it's not the last thing, but almost last thing we're going to do is I have went ahead and threaded another piece of green, embroidery thread, and I've punched 2 leaves from the, what is this, the Flower Builder punch, and it's the exact same thing. We're going to start out by putting a mini glue dot on the back of the leaf, and that is going to hold the thread in place. And I wouldn't do anything more than stick the thread through and then use the mini glue dot to hold it down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to maybe thread it once. I don't think it really needs to be threaded any more than that, unless of course you want it a little bit thicker, but I think that's probably good. And use that same mini glue dot to hold that thread down. We're going to just cut that off, and we're going to do one more. We're going to stick that down, and then this card is almost done. All right, so let's see here. Oh, my thread came unthreaded. We're going to have to thread this again. So that is one thing with this card is, you know, it's easier if you thread everything first. You know, it's funny because I start cooking, and when I do, I don't necessarily always have my ingredients ready, and it's just not as much fun. It doesn't always turn out as well either. And so my husband, his recommendation to me is, you know, it goes a lot better if you just prepare everything ahead of time. So the lesson is get all your needles and stuff prepared, and then it's a whole lot more fun for this card. So you can see what I just did there. I went ahead and just put a Stampin' Dimensional on the back, or a mini glue dot I should say. And I'm just going to stick that thread right there, just like that. Come back through, And this is probably the hardest piece to work with because it's so little. But I found that it really brings the whole card together when the leaf is also embroidered as well. Okay, so that's it there. Let's go ahead and add our grass first. Again, the grass is 1 inch by 4 1/4. And you know, you can use your paper snips and you can kind of snip each layer. Or there are scissors out there that you can use to kind of cut your grass really nice and even. Either way you do it works perfectly fine. We're going to take our mini Stampin' Dimensionals here. Mini glue dots, Stampin' Dimensionals, I tell ya. We've got so many great things to work with. Appreciate that from Stampin' Up. Okay, so we're going to put a few mini Stampin' Dimensionals down. Then we're going to put our grass right across the bottom. And now I popped that up again because I wanted that dimension to kind of keep with my flower. Now let's take and put our mini glue dots on the back of our leaf. We're going to add 1 leaf to the right, and it doesn't matter where, it's just wherever you like it. And let me tell you, if you only like 1 leaf, then just do 1 leaf, okay? I kind of like them alternated. I just thought it looked really pretty. It's very springy. All right, there you go. That is it, folks. That is my fun, beautiful blossom embroidery threaded card. So I really like it. You can put any greeting that you would like on this card. Have fun with it. Try your blues, try your different greens. The yellows and the oranges I think would be stunning. So I hope you have a lot of fun with this card. And again, if you would like some of the tutorials or this particular tutorial, it is printed in my Stampin' Up Getaway that you can purchase on BrandysCards.com. So thanks again for stamping by, and have a great day.